On April 20th, 1999, what seemed like an average day at Columbine High School turned into a massacre when two students entered the school and began shooting. The two boys, Eric Harris and Dylan Kelboyd, killed 13 people and injured over 20.
But what influenced them to shoot in the first place? Was it their violent video games, or was it the easy access to guns? Today we'll be exploring that question.
Jefferson County 911.
Yes, I am a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun. He has shot out a window. I believe one kid. I've been
Columbine High School.
I don't know what's in my shoulder. If it was just a last bead or what.
Okay, has anybody been injured, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the table, kids. Heads under the table. Kids are screaming. Some of the teachers are, trying to take control. We need police here.
Okay, we're getting them there.
Police here.
Who is the student, ma'am?
I do not know who the student is.
Okay.
I saw a student outside. I was in hold already. I thought, okay, I was on hold already. I saw a gun. I said, what's going on out there? And he said, oh, it's probably for video protection. It's probably a joke. I said, well, I don't think that's a good idea. And I went walking outside. I could see this dance to see what was going on. He turned the gun straight at us and shot. And my God, the window.
Does our culture's violent media, like our video games, affect our children's decisions? It's been about 5 years since the Columbine shooting. We've had our mourning, we've done our research and investigation, trying to understand what influenced it. What do you believe influenced it now that we've had this time?
Well, right after the shooting, we already knew that the boys were involved in violent media. They were listening to violent music, and they were playing violent video games, and I think still after all this investigation, it all leads back to the violent video games they were playing.
And what was that violent video game?
Well, they were playing a game called Doom, which was for soldiers. It taught them how to, it trained them to shoot and get ready for army and everything. So it wasn't meant for a game for kids to be playing, but they were playing it, and they actually modified the game to have two shooters representing them, and they were shooting a school with people who couldn't fight back. So basically, their game playing was them getting ready for the killing that they did.
Yeah, wasn't it like the floor plan of the school was how they created the place that they were shooting in?
Yeah.
Like the map of it?
Yeah, basically they had it all mapped out, and it was through the video game.
Okay, so although they were playing this game, what made them want to remake it and make it such a tragedy?
Well, so you're asking what influenced them to actually go kill?
This, yeah.
Well, their research shows that video games make especially younger boys more aggressive. The killing makes them oh man, they got killed in the game, they got stabbed, they're just mad. And also these games teach them to deal with problems in the wrong way. So the boys were bullied at school, that was known. They were bullied, and they were in this group of just kind of unhappy kids. So instead of going to counseling or talking about it or learning the right way to deal with their problems, the video games influenced them to solve it in a totally different way. Just like how their player goes and kills the people they don't like, influenced them, made them angry to want to go kill the people they didn't like.
Obviously the Columbine isn't the only high school shooting that we've seen in America and in our culture. There's been many other tragedies committed, especially by teenagers today. Is it our culture that's influencing it? What is it?
I do think it's our culture. Our culture nowadays just has so much more violent media. There's angry music, there's the rap that says many bad things, there's, violent movies. There's a million scary movies now that's all about killing or devils or worshiping. There's so many violent TV shows. There's just so much more that kids nowadays can watch and see, and I feel like their young brains are being influenced by our violent culture way sooner than they need to be seeing about that or hearing that kind of stuff.
For sure, because back in our parents' times, it was if they wanted to kill, they were going to kill. It wasn't anything was influencing them, but now we have all these things, and it's way more reoccurring than it should be. It's abundant. You can name 5 different things off of your head.
Yeah, 5 different violent movies that are out right now that they can go watch, and their brains are so delicate at those ages that they're just oh, well, I saw this on TV, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you just want to do what you see. You want to remodel what you're seeing. Yeah,
exactly.
Opposing view to yours is that it was guns, like the access to guns, that influence it? Do you agree with the people who believe the shooting was influenced by the lack of gun security in the schools, or like in our nation, technically? Or is it completely influenced by, like, media and our culture?
Well, I think our culture nowadays does have a more easygoing gun rights, and they're more accessible and stuff, but I did think that made the shooting easier. Like, obviously the boys easily got the guns. It was easy access, and the schools didn't have the metal detectors in the school security, so it made it easy also for them to just bring it to school and do it.
Yeah, no one would have known. You could have it in your backpack.
Yeah, so I think our culture nowadays does have some aspects of that where it makes it an easier tragedy to occur. But the influencing part, just because there is a gun, what influenced them to pick it up and shoot? I mean, just not any day I'm like, oh, there's a gun, I'm gonna kill you. Like, something had to be going through their head, and it has to go back to the video games and the violent media, because their aggression from those and what they taught them, that's what they're thinking about. So not any normal person is just going to pick up a gun and shoot someone. They have to be influenced by some kind of negative, violent thing, and that's the violent video games for the boys.
Yeah, there's that saying, guns don't kill people, people kill people. So
Yes.
I guess that's kind of where you're coming from.
Exactly, that's what I believe. The culture of our media, not the culture of our guns.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
They came into the library. They just started shooting at everyone in the library.
It sounded like fireworks, like pow, pow.
Okay, I'm with the SWAT team. We need paramedics right now. Emergency code 10 by the rear of the school where the pumper number 11 is. EMS is on the way.
We have had reports of shots fired and explosions there.
Bring this thing in!
That's it. We're taking ambulance there right now.
There was 2 seniors, and they had guns, and they were just shooting. I don't know. Someone came in, and they were like, "These kids have guns. These kids have guns." They came down, and they were just like, "Get everyone down! Get everyone down!"
I heard a couple of gunshots.
I heard just the shooting.
They sounded almost like BB gunshots.
They came into the library. They just started shooting at everyone in the library. First, they went to the far end, and then they went closer to where I was sitting. Everyone at my table was shot.
Everyone at my table was shot.
Everyone was at my table was shot, and then they left, and they're like, "I gotta reload. I gotta reload." And
Everyone just started running.
Down 31 with down line. Tell those paramedic crews we need a backboard down here in medical jail right now. ASAP.
her sister was shot. Her sister was shot. Okay.
My sister was shot.
Just bringing them down as fast as they can find them, and they're getting them out of there, getting them away from the school, getting them fixed up, stabilized, and then getting them to the hospital from here.
We do have some fatalities. The number of those fatalities is unknown right now.
We have 13 or 14 students that have been shot at Columbine High School, an ongoing SWAT situation at the school.
All you hear is like firecrackers, and then I looked out the window and there's a kid with a trench coat and a shotgun throwing pipe bombs in the parking lot, and then he shot a girl outside.
It's been about 5 years since the Columbine shooting. We've had many investigations. We all have our own theories, and most people believe that it's the violent media that's been influencing the boys. But what do you believe?
I wholeheartedly disagree with that, because if you look back at the investigations of the Columbine shooting, you can see that the access to guns was way too easy for those teenagers.
I mean, yeah, they did just get them from someone. Like, so they just asked a guy and he got them.
Exactly. They got it from someone who was just barely over the age of 18 at a local gun show from unlicensed sellers.
Sure, like they got it easy, but what influenced the boys? Like, just because they had the guns, that doesn't mean that they, like, that was their influence. Like, God, I have the gun, I'm gonna shoot someone.
You know, maybe it's just the power of actually having a firearm is the reason why they'd be compelled to actually commit to something as horrible as what happened in 1999.
Sure, but were they bullied? Were they mad?
Well, you know, when someone has a gun and they have the power to actually commit to doing something horrible, they can do some pretty horrible acts.
Yeah, but what would make them want to kill, you know? So you're saying that because they just had the guns, just because they were in their hands, that's the pure influence for it?
Well, yes, and partially our gun culture and our policies in our local schools. If you look back then, the security wasn't as tight as it is now, and just because of that shooting had to happen, that's why the policies now are actually in place, but it had to take those 13 lives to actually get there.
Like, is there... But I guess that's not really answering my question. I'm asking what influenced them, like why the guns just in their hands influenced them. Was it not the video game Doom that they had?
I don't really have a comment on that, but I can say that if they didn't have any access to guns, they wouldn't need to actually have any influence. Whatever influence they have, they wouldn't have the means to kill someone.
So it's our culture, like just the fact that we have the guns in our hands,
Exactly.
like that we're allowed to do that in our culture in America. Okay.
Exactly.
Understood. Thank you. The reason behind the Columbine shooting is still a mystery today. Was it our gun laws? Was it the school security? Or was it the violent media in our culture? I guess we'll never know. But what do you think?
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long